This one's going to be a solid one, so you'll want to stick around and hit the like button and comment for this one. The weirdos and the stalkers are going to be out for you when you are on semen retention. And the reason being is mainly because of your energy source and your vitality and vigor and your virility as well. But most importantly, it's your growing in connection to the Most High God and developing your relationship to Him. And so on this Semen Retention Sunday episode, I want to talk about why weirdos will be triggered by you and the stalkers will stalk you more so than ever when you're on semen retention. And anybody that's been gang stalked before, or maybe is just hearing this term for the first time, but you've had people in the past almost do like campaigns against you in which they try to disrupt your reputation, and it's a smear campaign, and now you're you're not wanting to flee the situation, but to face the adversity in this situation is not going to be advantageous for really anybody. And so you want to be very mindful on how you go about these kinds of things. But we'll get to that in a minute though, but I want to first talk about the weirdos that will be triggered by you. This will happen with men, other men specifically. Like you walk into a room and all of a sudden men start to mate guard because they see you, and all of a sudden your aura, your energy is just sitting there. You are exuberant, you're full of energy, and you might just be chilling there. Like you actually just have a stoic face on. You're relaxed, calm, cool, and collected, but everybody can feel the vitality that you are just oozing off of you. Because why? Well, you've got the good milk now. You've got the good seed. You've got the good stuff. And people can sense that. You know, you can really see just by the look of somebody if they have spiritual self-awareness and self-respect or not really. And if they don't, what is usually going to happen is people are going to be very fidgety, or again, they're going to be very mate guardy, or women are going to be like, some of these women out here will be weirdos and really try to go out of their way to get your attention just because they want the attention of that man with the good seed and the good milk. You know, a lot of the times you got to be careful with these women out here that are doing choosing signals, because some of these women are doing choosing signals just to get your attention. It's kind of like the game of, oh, I want to play the game of can I get this guy? Not I want that guy. It's can I get this guy? And so it's kind of like a catch and release game that a lot of these women will play nowadays. And so you've got to be mindful of that. And the weirdos that are going to be triggered by you are going to be mostly men in my experience. I've had a lot of men do one of two things now in my experience for me. They either highly respect me and appreciate me, or they hate my guts and they cannot stand me. like there's no in between anymore, which tells me that I'm actually walking the righteous path, because as the Bible says, you know, walk with, you're either hot or you're cold, don't be lukewarm. And so the fact that people have these definitely polarizing emotions toward me tells me that there's something about me that is doing something right. And even though I don't necessarily do semen retention for the attention at all, I do it because I think that it's the right thing to do. I think that it's following God's laws, statutes, and commandments, and I think that doing so makes the world a better place while I'm in it. So until there's a time when a woman is able to come into my life that has the kind of standards and meets the kind of standards that I want, and we're able to both vet each other to know that we both want each other, I'm going to be on this path. And I encourage all other men to do the same. I don't encourage people to be participating in these overtly sexual relationships and one-night stands and hookups just because you can't keep it in your pants. Nobody should be whoring around. Nobody should be doing these kinds of things, because it doesn't make anybody's life better. And it decreases the probability of creating a stabilized traditional family in the long run. And why do we want a traditional family? Because societies prosper under traditional families, and that is a statistical proven data fact. So with that being said, to continue on with the weirdos and everything like that, people will be mean mugging you. People will be throwing these dirty looks your way sometimes. I've had guys that literally gossip about me like girls, like little high school girls around me. And it's just like, man, these guys are just like, it's sad, man. It's really sad. And a lot of the sheep are just not going to be prepared for what's to come. And I know what it's like to be asleep and to not know I'm asleep in the matrix, right, so to speak. I know what it's like, but at the same time, I was only there until I was 21, 22. I started to really wake up when I was 22 years old, and I'm 28 now. And to see these grown-ass men acting like little girls in their 30s and 40s, it's like unbelievable to me, because sometimes I feel as though even though I'm 28 physically, my energy levels are like that of an 18-year-old, and yet my spiritual levels are like that of a 120-year-old, it seems like sometimes, because just the way that I view the world is in that older way, quote unquote. And this is also going to rub people the wrong way. I mean, you guys have seen, anybody that's been with me on this channel for a few months or more sees that sometimes the kinds of topics that I cover provoke certain emotions in people, and some people can get very, very triggered by that. And that's okay. I mean, that just goes to show, though, that if you get that triggered and you cannot calmly, coolly, and collectively, like, it's okay to be upset at things people say sometimes. It's fine. But if you lose your cool and you lose your temper in a way where it's very clear that you are offended by a thought, then you don't really understand how thinking is really the best way to travel. There's a beautiful lyric. I can't remember who's it by, but it goes something along the lines of thinking is the best way to travel. And I always thought about that. I haven't listened to that band for probably a couple of years, but anyway, I don't know why that just came to mind, but thinking is the best way to travel, because freedom of speech is freedom of thought by definition. And so if the speech of what somebody says irks you to the point of where you make certain actions to take violence into account, which I do not condone, by the way, then that tells me that you are locked into an illusion, and you cannot entertain an idea without accepting it. People that can entertain ideas without accepting them are my kind of people, because they understand philosophy, they understand psychology, and they know how to not take things personally. And it's okay, but people are going to act strange like this sometimes, and especially in the community. If you say so, man, if I said some of the things that I do here online in the community, like, I don't know how people would respond, but I have said certain things, and there have been times where women have threatened to lock me up because of the things that I've said. And it's like, really? Like, these are the weirdos that we have to deal with. And it's going to happen when you're on semen retention, because you are walking around like a loaded, like you are just fully loaded, and you are working as an automatic weapon. You're no longer semi-automatic. Okay, you are like an automatic AR that is capable, once you get like past 30 to 60 days on semen retention, you really are a walking automatic weapon in some sense. And spiritually speaking, that is. Again, I don't condone violence of any kind physically. But speech-wise, it's okay to hash things out, I think. It's actually necessary and healthy for the society to do so. But then you got to be careful with the stalkers, okay? And this is why the stalkers and the weirdos are kind of combined into this topic here, because especially with the gang stalking and such, you'll have groups. And what is gang stalking? It's groups of people that in some way, shape, or form are collectively organizing against an individual to ensure that they do not thrive in the way that they want to be thriving or can be thriving. Because it's not always just about survival sometimes. Like, I'm not a survivor. Even though I've survived a lot of different and terrible things, I don't think of myself as a survivor. And the reason being is because I don't ever want to have that mindset. I refuse to have the mindset of I survived. Not only will I survive, I will thrive in my survival. That is the way that I think. That is just the way that I have my mindset. And because your mindset is going to be so much more powerful and potent, you're going to have the backbone to stand up for yourself on semen retention. You're going to have the vitality and energy source and the life source connected to the Most High on semen retention. Stalkers will see this, and a lot of women are more creepy than men, and especially in the stalking, because I've seen women that literally go out of their way and take days off to follow men around. I've seen this happen. I've seen it happen because I was the person on the receiving end. And there was a time within the last year or so where there was a woman at the gym who there were some things that happened, and I basically told her that I have compassion for her, but I do not think that we are romantically compatible. And she then made it her life's mission to get me because she couldn't have me anymore. And this is where you got to be careful with the women that just play the game to just, can I get this guy? Because she was playing that game, and that's when I said, look, I've got compassion for you, but we're not going to do this, basically. And, we're not romantically compatible. And she made it her life's mission for the next 2 to 3 months to go crazy over finding me, because she realized that I wasn't playing a game and she couldn't handle being rejected. And so, and some men will not be able to handle rejection either. Let's make that clear very well. But women take this way more personally, because they're very solipsistic. And it's just the reality. It's not good or bad. It's just the way that it is. And so this woman ended up, I had a routine at the time of I went to the coffee shop to work for a couple hours. I would, on certain days of the week, I would go to the grocery store, and I would always be going to the gym at a certain time. Well, she started going to the gym at the same time that I was. And then it got to the point to where she was literally, as I would pull in, her car would pull up right next to me. I waited for a minute. She waited for a minute. As soon as I got out, she got out. Before we got into the door into the gym, she stopped me to try to talk to me and open the door. Hey stranger, how are you doing? I'm doing well, thanks. And let's continue. And she did not handle this well at all. And I could feel the heaviness of her spirit. You just are around certain people sometimes, and the emotional weight that is bearing down upon themselves, you can feel the void sucking you in, right? That was what this woman was like. And I could feel as soon as I got next to her like that after this rejection, it was just she literally could not handle it. And there was a time after that where I saw her at the grocery store. At a certain time I went to the grocery store. And then I saw her car, which I had seen previously when I saw her pull up next to me at the gym. I saw her car outside of my house a couple weeks after that. And I started to kind of get freaked out. And then I saw her at the coffee shop, and I was like, okay, no, this woman is definitely following me. She's definitely stalking me. And she, this was just a weirdo, man. She was just a weirdo. And the thing is she was reasonably attractive. Okay, she was reasonably attractive and could probably get most guys that she wanted. But because I had the gall and the balls to walk away, it she like couldn't process it. I'm pretty sure that was the first time she's ever been rejected because of the way she responded. And I've had women tell me in the past that I'm the first man to ever tell her no. And this woman was like 23, 24 years old. Imagine that. Imagine walking the earth for 2 decades plus and never having anybody say no to you. I can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine that. But that's exactly what the kinds of women sometimes out here are like. And because there's so many simps and all of that, they're going to be bending over backwards or frontwards to get with them. And then when they finally meet a real man like yourself, who's on semen retention, that values himself, that respects himself, they almost don't know how to handle it. Like it's like a system reboot, man. But this is why you got to be careful, and you got to be mindful and watchful of and vigilant of just whatever's happening and move accordingly. What did I do after this woman really demonstrated that she was stalking me? I changed up my entire schedule. I didn't go to that coffee shop anymore. I was going somewhere else. Or I actually haven't drank caffeine now for probably 3 months or so, maybe a little bit longer. But, and I haven't gone out to eat since June this year. So I've changed up a lot of different things in my diet. I go to the gym at different times now. I'm always, my routine at this point is no routine. And so now I know that if anyone in my community is watching this, they never know my next step, and they never know when I'm doing what and how I'm doing anything. And that's the way that I like it. I like to be unpredictable in a healthy way. So that's the way that I live, and that's the way to move accordingly sometimes. And with all that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. If you do want to join the Regal Change Academy, where we are having a godly community being built together with people that are actually walking in spirit and truth, males and females, in the community, we have a free Discord available for you with some free resources, as well as the paid community, which is $10 a month, and you get a weekly Bible study call, a weekly group call, which we actually have today, later on. And we also have a bunch of different kinds of classes available for you that are hands-on learning and self-taught learning as well, that you can have and take with you. I also want to thank everybody moving from YouTube over to X and Rumble recently, as well as all of the Instagram DMs that I've been getting recently supporting me. Honestly, guys, with things that happen sometimes when these people and these weirdos are provoked in such a way, and I've had people make threats to me over emails. Like, people have sent me emails with threats, and people have told me that they hope God casts me into hell. And it's just kind of funny sometimes to read these kinds of things, because I genuinely want to see the world a better place, and I genuinely think that speaking the truth into being and just being frank about it is going to be the best way. I want to make sure that we're addressing these in a professional manner, and we want to address these kinds of things to be educated, to be regal, to be confident, and to have compassion towards one another. And I understand that sometimes the way that I say certain things is going to provoke a certain kind of emotion in you, or invoke certain kinds of emotion in you. But it's not my intention to do this just to see pain, okay? Demons get pleasure out of seeing people in pain. I don't get pleasure out of seeing people in pain. I get pleasure in seeing how people are changing their lives for the better because they accepted and took accountability for the truth. So with all that being said, peace be with you all. Till next time.